Yo, 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 what's going on, fam, out there? It's your boy Tahir Johnson. We're back with another episode of the Cannabis Diversity Report. Today, I got my brother from Jersey, Tiyahnn Bryant. What's good, Ty?
What's going on, Todd? Appreciate to be here. It's
Yo,
first time on the Diversity Report. I've been watching it, been a fan of it for quite a long time, so it's good to actually be sitting here in the seat, conversing back and forth. I know we do this behind the scenes all the time, but it's good to do it on a professional level for once.
absolutely, man. Nah, I got mad love for you, bro. It's always a pleasure seeing how you and Precious move. Your partner, for folks that don't know, his partner, Precious, COO of RollUp Life. She's a Howard alum, so we definitely connect there. But bro, it's good to see you. Out front talking, man. It's good to see a brother out here. Really making moves with your leadership, what y'all are doing up there in New Jersey, really the whole tri-state area. As I've been watching people emerge, like in the new people come in the industry, because like I was telling you before we came on, I remember what it was like years ago when I was first starting, and I've seen how y'all were dedicated even before like the business side, like when we were all doing the advocacy to try to make sure we got it legalized. Y'all were right there on the front lines, and you've been representing, holding it down. So tell folks the story of RollUp Life. Tell what is your company, what are y'all trying to do, how'd you get started?
All right, well, in a nutshell, Roll Up Life, I want to say it in 4 easy words: is cannabis delivery made simple. What we're trying to do here at Roll Up Life is to become the premier provider and transporter of cannabis and related products. The story of Roll Up Life goes back to, I want to say, 2016 or 17. And I'm sitting in the car with my cousin, and like we're smoking, and my other phone is just ringing off the hook. And I just want some time to just to myself. But this other phone, I gotta get to it. It's a couple dollars right there, so you gotta, you know what I mean, make it happen. And then it's almost like a light switch went off in my head. I was just like, yo, what if we had an app for this, right? And like I just freeze. My cousin looks at me like I'm weird, but it's like, what, bro? Like, bro, just smoke the J, you know what I mean? I'm like, nah, I gotta go. Like, I get out the car. It's a freshly rolled blunt. Um, and I probably don't leave my house probably for like the next 4 days, trying to get like a somewhat of a pitch deck together to get a little team up. So I took it to Precious naturally, of course. And at first she said, nah, we just graduated college. She's about to go to Columbia for her J School master's degree. And she was under the impression that I was going to take football a lot further than what I decided to take it. And from that point, it was like, damn, is this a bad idea, or am I just not refined enough? So then this, like I said, it's around 2016. So 2017, 18, and 19, I took that time to just tour the country and really figure out who I was in the cannabis industry, where could we sit in the cannabis industry, and what actual problem could we use a solving in the cannabis industry. And many of the markets that you see, a lot of that got back down to supply chain and management, and logistics, making sure products were getting from point A to point B, making sure products were getting to their testing labs and getting back to the shelves on time. In New Jersey, I'm sure you're aware, we have a problem with that because we have so few testing facilities, and we can run out of products just so quickly because of how underserved our market is. So just seeing the weaknesses in the logistics, I started to drive down a rabbit hole of, all right, now how do I enter in the industry with this logistics focus? So I joined Minorities for Medical Marijuana. I meet Roz McCarthy.
Shout out to Roz, my
Yeah,
girl.
shout out to Roz McCarthy. So the first event I ever went for cannabis was like their pre-mixer in New Jersey to that ultimately led up to their like 2-day boot camp. So at this mixer, she brought in Ronnie Soto, a few other people. Leo was there, and they were just really giving us the spiel of what the medical marijuana market was, what it was like to be a medical marijuana patient. Um, they gave us a inside peek of the breakdown of what the cannabis plant actually is, from terpenes to cannabidiol, and all of the other different things that comes involved into going into the plant. They broke down the different avenues of the industry. They explained to me what ancillary businesses were and how ancillary businesses could thrive into this cannabis industry as well. You don't have to be a flower touching company. You can get into this as a marketer, as a lawyer, logistics, of course. So it was just a lot of that in that inside round. And then from there, Roz was, I guess I asked so many questions. Roz gave me a free ticket to the boot camp that was
Mm.
like $500, $600 for those 2 days. She just invited me to it. So I got there, and naturally, like a student, like how I was in the classroom, I just sat in the front. I wasn't there to really be friends with anyone, but I was there to network as well. So just trying to show how focused I am in the classroom, and then in the intermediary periods of the lessons, you talk, you network, see if you mesh with this person right here, if you mesh with that person right there, is this person serious? Is that person serious? Who's going to be here 2, 3, 4 years from now? Because this was a while ago. So the guest speaker that day was Hope Wiseman, the CEO of Mary and May. And no one believes this story when I tell it, but I think this is kind of like how I got a boost into the industry. And fortunately, Hope Wiseman is now one of the RollUp Life advisors. So the story of how I met Hope was just like real genuine and like real like personal, and I was able to get like a one-on-one with the cannabis CEO for 2 hours. Like it was crazy. So we're leaving the event, and I'm walking to the train station. I decided to, catch the bus down. Parking downtown Newark is terrible, so it's whatever. Caught the bus down there. She was walking back. It's the train station, the bus station, same thing. If you know Newark, New Jersey, it's Penn Station. So she's walking there. She asked me if I knew where I was going. So of course I led her to a train station, and she just missed the Amtrak, and the next one wasn't coming for 2 hours. Um, so I'm walking away to go to the bus stop, and I hear like a faint little voice, like, "Hey, hey, hey!" And I turn around, it's Hope, and she's like, well, I missed my train. I have 2 hours to kill. Like, do you know something I could do?" And it was like a little bar upstairs, so I showed her where the bar was, and she asked me to join her. And if I had any questions, what I mean, just shoot away. So now we're just sitting there locked in 2 hours of just asking Hope anything I could think of about the cannabis industry, down to like financials and stuff like that. And very fortunately, Hope was able to get real personal about the journey, what it actually meant to her. She got really emotional, because there were some things that she could have done better. There were some things that didn't go her way in the beginning, and it showed how diligent you have to be into this process. But with that insight that I got from Hope, I was able to really, really start to refine things. And then Hope introduced me to someone. And then someone else introduced me to someone. And then the next thing you know, I'm here at my first New Jersey Cannabis Insider event, and I meet Michael McQueenie. Michael McQueenie's first words to me was, I had one of the RollUp Life shirts on. First words to me was, "Is that your company? Do you work there?" I'm like, "Yeah, I own it. What's up?" And he's like, "Do you have an MBE?" And then from there, me and Michael McQueenie were locked in. So this is like 2017, 18. I meet Fuquan Muzan at the second Cannabis Insider event that I go to in Edison, New Jersey. This one was one of the bigger conferences that I've seen. I met so many people there. Kenneth Reed from Hillview Medical. Um, I'm, I want to say it's Amani Toomer that used to play for the Giants. That
Mhm.
he was walking around in that room. I met uh, Ed Tobias at that event. I met Gaetano, forgive me for his last name, Lidieri. But so those two events, the former two or the last two, Ed Tobias and Gaetano Lidieri, we formed like a little 3-man team, I guess. They took to, one is a lawyer and one is just a cannabis geek. Like,
Mhm.
so G is the cannabis geek. He's very smart. He's a doctor. He lets you know anything you need to know about this plant. And Ed was a lawyer that was just asking all the questions that you wouldn't even think to ask. Like those things didn't really like register to me how they register to me now. And they took to me in this idea of roll up life early on. So what they would do is events I probably didn't even hear about. They would be, yo, we'll be at your house in 45 minutes, be ready. Yo,
Mm-hmm.
we'll be at your house in 30 minutes, be ready. So now Ed's taking me all over, all over, all over. And through that, I meet my second advisor, who is Barbara Paley. Bobby Paley, everybody knows who she is. She's one of the bigger names in the industry. She's known as a connector, a connoisseur of cannabis or whatever. And how I met Bobby was just like the right place at the right time. I just happened to be sitting on a couch, and where it's a pitch event. I'm there to learn how to pitch this idea and look at other people's decks and see how they talk about their companies. It was structured. I chose this event because the first round was your elevator pitch, so everybody had 30 seconds to make it happen. The second round was, okay, you're invited to your first meeting, so now you have a minute to make it happen. And the last one was like a closing presentation, so you're actually fully presenting your company to try to close the deal. And just getting all of this knowledge, I'm soaked in the corner by myself, just sitting by myself, writing on my notebook. And I just feel a little feet flop down on the couch next to me, and she's looking at me like this, like with a nice little Bobby smile. And I'm like, no, who is this woman? Why? And everybody's rushing over to her, like rushing, dying to come talk to her. And I felt like I was wrong for not knowing who she was. It's like, am I really in this industry if I don't know this woman? I guess I'm supposed to know this woman. But it played out exactly how it was supposed to play out, because me not knowing who she was made her want to know who I was. And she sat down on the couch next to me. And she just began to ask the smallest questions. Where you from? What's your name? What do you do? What are you here for? What are you interested in? And from there, just answering, oh, I'm Tiyahnn. I'm here to actually learn how to pitch. I have an idea that I want to pitch myself. I just want to see how other people do it. I want to know how the time limits work, and they're always, all right, that's it, you're done. You don't get no extra time. So I'm just trying to refine my skills, my public speaking skills, and things of that nature. And I guess that like really wowed her, because it was like I didn't really have interest of being there outside of learning how to speak publicly. And she took to me. So she's like, all right, so what's your idea? And I'm like, well, I have a thing called roll up life. And roll up life, like roll up, like weed roll up. I'm like, yeah, that's a great name, right? And lo and behold, the event that we're at happens to be a high NY 420 event, right? So I wound up not really realizing that G and Ed took me to a cannabis event. I'm just thinking I'm at a pitch competition. So she's dialed in. Now she's asking all the right questions. And at this point, I'm a little refined. So I'm like, well, yeah, everything's going to be done through technology. We've been developing this little technology for a little while. Our marketplace is going to operate as a vendor marketplace. We're going to host many dispensaries. Our B2B backend will be business.rolluplife.com. This is where the bulk orders for the major companies can go through, making sure everything is facilitated through one-stop shop. You don't got to go this place or that place. We're really trying to build the industry's to go location for whatever. And Bobby liked it. And she's like, well, sharpen up right here. Sharpen up right there. Come to lunch with me. Come up to Massachusetts now. And the more I started to get involved with Bobby, the more I started to understand the business side of it, the numbers side of it. You might have to scratch somebody's back for them to scratch yours down the line. Like just to understand playing the game. And I love Bobby to death, because she's taught me so much about the cannabis industry. So now at this point, I have a lawyer, 2 advisors. The idea is getting done. The deck is cool. The logos are paid for. Like I had a terrible website, but nonetheless, I own our domain. Our website is there. Now I need to make this pretty. So it's about 2020 at this point. I barged in Precious's office at work. Like, look, yo. Like, I barged in her office. Like, look, yo, I need you to make this pretty for me. Please just like help me out with this a little bit. Like, I know you're in school for journalism and marketing. It's not what you want to do, but as your best friend, like, just help me right quick. I need some help. And she started going through the stuff that she seen me doing, and she actually was like, "Oh." Then I knew how to talk and explain it better, and I was able to inspire her to want to take a deep dive into it. So I hired her as the chief marketing officer at first, and the more she started to ask me questions, and the more I started to teach her what I know, and then we started to get out there and learn more and more. The more detail oriented that she got, it was a no brainer to just make Precious the chief operations officer. Like, there's me, then there's Precious, and everything else will come right after that. And from that point, Precious was phenomenal in using her journalism background to get us to the main stage. And the work that I had already put in was ready for the main stage. And once preparation of myself met opportunity from Precious, RollUp Life was able to become what people are starting to see today. And now we're just trying to make sure when it comes to the New Jersey landscape that we are exactly what people think about when they think of cannabis, period. When you want something, come to us or go look through RollUp Life. When we're getting to the national stage, we're trying to be maintained as a distributor, and just making sure projects getting exactly where they need to be logistically is something that we're just taking pride on here. Our social equity. Oh, something I skipped over. I apologize. So we all know what social equity means to us. And being the vice president of Minorities for Medical Marijuana, it hits a little bit deeper because you actually are expected to have some type direct impact. Being from East Orange, New Jersey, um, too many of my friends have been subject to unfair policing, being very young and having records. And understanding that that could be me as well at any day, at any moment, it makes you lock into like, okay, now how can we really help other people even while we're helping ourselves? So um us partner with CHT in partnership with New Jersey Cannabis Insiders. We got up $100,000 for some scholarships for 5 other minority companies.
Mm.
And Brendan Robinson, someone I'm starting to develop a relationship with today, was one of the recipients.
That's what's up.
Yeah. And just seeing that impact right there, just something I did so behind the scenes and didn't even publicize, to see how well it's helping other people, is really solidified that this is what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to be leaders in this space, and it's okay to lead from the back sometimes, right? And then when you get your moment, just make sure that your preparation has met your opportunity, because once those two things meet, there's no telling what you can do. And we were able to have RollUp Life become one of those things. And
Mm-hmm.
it's
Yeah,
amazing.
man. Y'all are definitely the face of New Jersey, man. You know, and it's so crazy to hear that story, man. You know, that's my first time hearing it too, bro. But for one, you got some dope advisors. But like you said, man, it shows the real hustle, the hard work that it took to get there, like all of those different steps over the years. And then even the importance of giving back. Like you said, where we come from, man, it's so many people that's locked up. So to even just be thinking about doing this coming from weed, you know what I mean? It makes you want to just be able to create those other opportunities, man. So it's like you've been hustling, working on this for all of these years now. And so now that we're so close to the finish line, and you know, New Jersey's licenses will probably be coming out soon. Like, what are some of the things that you're doing to prepare now? Like, how do you get ready, or what are some of the important things like to business that, you know, other people that probably should be doing that they could learn from you guys?
Of course. First and foremost, just hearing how the Cannabis Control Commission even speaks about applicants and priority applicants. Just getting involved is one of the first things that I could say um, for a prospective business owner to try to prepare for this application, because it's one thing to just yeah, I want to own a dispensary, I want to own a grow shop, but it's another thing to a why do you want to own a grow shop, why do you want to own a dispensary, um connecting to your community. How well is your company going to benefit this community that it's in? What are you doing to update the awareness about everything that's going on within the cannabis industry in your neighborhoods, right? So getting involved is the first thing. Secondly, finding a great legal team, because you're not going to be able to do all of this stuff by yourself, and understanding that and having a great lawyer is something that you'll need to help navigate this landscape, to navigate future partnerships, to make sure you're staying away from predatory people. The third thing is understanding regulations yourself. You need to understand um, what it's going to take physically, quite literally physically, to get involved in this industry. So the application processes, read up on older New Jersey applicants, right? Read up on applications that failed versus the ones that win. Spot little differences. You have to notice those things. Um, get your business plan together. Make sure it's concise, to the point that when someone's reading it, they shouldn't have to ask you any more questions. Everything should be okay. All right, I know these. I could get that. Get your pitch deck ready, because odds are, a bunch of us aren't sitting on 10, $20 million. You're gonna need to get it from somewhere, and they're gonna want to know uh, genuinely questions about you and your company, and getting that team together. That's probably, I should have said that first and foremost. I apologize for even waiting on that one. But your team is the most important thing, because essentially, and I've learned this from sitting in the many investor meetings that I've been sitting in, um, investors will tell you all the time, it's not really the idea that they're investing in, because odds are you aren't the first person that's trying to do what you want to do. They're literally trying to invest in you and the team that you've built, because they think that you'll be the most successful at this. Not just that this idea is going to take off, but this is the team to make this idea take off. And having the correct people around you uh, will get you everything you need, because everyone focuses on what they're good at. Precious is good at publicity, marketing, building relationships. I'm good at the business end, contracts, negotiations, making sure everything is going as planned, and being the visionary, making sure that we're in the direction that we're trying to head. Samaj is our CTO. He's good at technology, and that's what he's good at. He doesn't have he brings that to the table. None of us talks over him in that regard. I have a aspect of how I want things to look, and Samaj tells us how to get there, and it's okay because he's the chief technology officer. Then we have AJ Tribune. He is from Florida. Uh, Spent quite a time at Amazon and FedEx, our chief logistics officer. And when it comes to making sure our routes are programmed to how they need to be, our onboarding process is as simple as it needs to be. Um, Making sure everything needs to go how it has to go. The checking and entering process before the drivers even get in the car. Security check. Um, the SOPs of how when things go wrong. So just making sure you have people in place to handle their specific roles that can alleviate what you actually have to handle, and you guys as a collective build this thing together, the application will be strong. But the again, like making sure you have complete knowledge of that application is like one of the big things. And it'll tell you what it needs. It'll tell you what it wants. It'll tell you you need your mayor approval. It'll tell you you need a building. It'll tell you you can't be 100 feet within a residence or the next dispensary. So it'll give you um that aspect of what it's going to take to be filled out. And then also when it comes to this license preparation, ask questions as well. Make sure you got things in place, people in place for the things that you don't know. That's why you need your advisory board. That's why you need people like you, Ty, because I'm pretty sure if I was stumped on something, I can call you up and be like, this is something, you know. So just having that the right people in place is something that's extremely crucial for the application process. But seriously, your lawyer, your business plan, your pitch deck, um, and your team is the big four.
Yeah, and now those are all like, I mean, I like that's everything like spot on, right? And like now that you, after you've done all of that, of course, like you said, you got to have the capital to be able to really actually stand the business up and pull it off. So what's it like trying to raise capital? As a black startup business in cannabis, what are some of the things you've learned from the process?
Um, First things first is it's okay to say no. All deals won't be well. All deals won't be good, and you'll feel like you need to sign it because you feel like, yo, we're in such a crutch for dollars and cents. But all deals aren't good deals. Like I was just saying before, having a good lawyer to keep you away from predatory deals is something that's necessary. Secondly, when you're walking in the room, um, we won at pitch force, right? So uh, knowing your idea, knowing it to the T, is something that investors are going to want to see. They don't want to. They want to be able to ask the people that are in roles about what this is going to do. So if you got a finance guy and an investor asks, okay, what does this look like in the long run? They're going to expect that question to be answered right or wrong. I mean, right away. And like hesitation is something that'll kill you in an investor meeting. And then people get cold feet. With the industry still being in such its infancy, um, one thing that I can truly say during our capital raise is, wow, we've never been told no, this is terrible. We don't want to invest. A lot of it has been, well, we'll come back after you get your license. So people get cold feet. So staying strong and staying grounded is something that people are going to need and be necessary, because just because someone isn't investing right now or doesn't see the vision right now, it doesn't mean that you have a bad idea. I take that all the time because even Precious, who's the COO of this thing, said no to this at first, right? So it all goes back to how well you can present that and be grounded in what you're saying. Because once I presented it to her the second time, it was no way she could say no. So just your conciseness is something huge when you're presenting to investors. And then it pays to have a letter of intent or two. It pays to have a friend or two that like Bobby and Hope. Like it pays to have people around you that can make the investor comfortable, because that's literally what it's all about at the end of the day, is how comfortable can you make them with putting their money in behind you, literally.
Yeah, man. You could tell you're really going through it, man. And like that's the thing that's so dope just to see. And I think people could really learn a lot from that. Like anybody that's trying to go after a license or wants to do it, I think they could definitely learn from the different things that you've shared, man. One of the other questions I would ask you is, man, what's next, bro? Like you've been putting in a lot of work. Jersey's about to, that's around the corner. So what are your long-term goals for roll up life going forward?
Um, well, first and foremost, we want to make sure that we can get the Northeast locked down, and then from the Northeast, we're trying to extend down to the whole entire Eastern Shoreboard, but just taking it one step at a time. First things first is being awarded a license in New Jersey, right? And then from there, making sure we're operational in the regions that we said we would be operational in. For our partners that are branded up under Roll Up Life, for this upcoming round, making sure that they're ready and prepared, and for the dispensaries that we have for them in their region, make sure everything is going good and smooth, that they can operate together. From there, then trying to get into New York the best way we can. We're moving forward, and we've been working on that now. But we really feel like we have a very strong uh, brand name, and going national is something that we think is very feasible for RollUp Life in the end game.
Absolutely, man. And like you said, first things first is starting with getting that New Jersey license, right? Killing that assignment. So like what would you say is like, do you feel like the rules that New Jersey put up, how do you feel about the social equity rules, and do you think it gives you a good shot to actually be in a position to win?
Honestly, truly, like New Jersey has some of the better social equity rules that I've seen. While they aren't perfect, I wish people could apply for more than one license and hold more than one license concurrently. I see why they didn't do that, because they want to give more people the opportunity to get involved. So I understand that. But outside of that, just prioritizing social equity applicants, um, making sure that conditional licenses were available for the people who might not even have two type of funding and stuff like that, and address and location. Because like I said in the beginning, when you're presenting to investors, one of the most difficult things to do is try to raise money pre-license, because in the back of their head is always, okay, well, what if you don't get this license? Then what? Where's your money, right? So, um, just putting that in place for people to be like, okay, here's a conditional license. If you give me the money, we'll get a real one. Like literally, that's if A then B, like a psychology test, right? So, just making sure that was in place was something big for me. The micro licenses were huge for me in regards to the New Jersey license. I say this all the time. People think it's going to be the top that supplements this industry, but I tell Precious like clockwork. It's going to be the micro licenses that supplement this industry. For one, the best flowers are going to come from the micro licenses, because it's only 10 of us, and our singular focus is this one or two rooms right here, while you got a 40, 50 freaking room megaplex over there, 250 square feet, 250,000 square feet or whatever. I know that's like obtuse, whatever, but like just the focus of that is uh those little boutique flowers that are going to be bloomed from the New Jersey micro licenses is something that I think is going to be huge to the New Jersey industry. Um, and what else in regards to the what New Jersey is doing for social equity? Giving back to the neighborhoods, taking a percentage off from cultivators, putting them into what they determine at impact zones to try to rebuild these communities back up. That was something else that was pretty big for me. We ourselves will be like also donating money to our city for every 10 cents on a dollar we'll try to give to the city, just because we understand what it takes in the program that these cities lack. And a lot of this money can be funneled through the cannabis industry. What something I didn't like about it is how a lot of some of the money is going through the police office to the police officers, simply because it's like, well, y'all spent this much time oppressing this. Like, why do y'all get to reap the benefits of this, especially when you have state sanctioned budgets, you know? So that's one thing I didn't like about it. But all in all, I think it was a pretty good law. And I think New Jersey has a very, very good chance of becoming one of the market leading states.
Yeah, man. Yo, and you made a really good point too about like micro licenses and all different types of licenses being opportunities. Going back to the beginning, man, interesting question. Like what even when you like when the light bulb went off and you decided that you wanted to like pursue the legal cannabis industry, what was it that made you think of delivery like all the way back then, right? Because most people when they think about cannabis, they're like, oh, I want to be in I want to get a dispensary. Like, what was it that made you identify like this the lane that you wanted to play in all the way back then?
Essentially because it was like, yo, I wish I had somebody to do this for me. Like somebody come get these and take it to the people. So
Yeah,
like
always gonna need that.
it was that. It was just that, yo, well, I don't want to do it, but if I could hire somebody to do this for me, that'd be great. And it was just like, boom, yo, a logistics company for cannabis would just really work. I never really thought about having a dispensary or a cultivation facility simply because I know how capital intensive those could be. Um, and just how competitive that would be, right? I've never owned a damn store. I've never like I can't sit here and say I've grown flower. How can I back that up, right? You know what I'm saying? So it's like, well, would I drive? I mean, I've worked here. I know some people that work in this logistics company and that logistics company. My uncle worked at UTI Logistics, and understanding supply chain and management was always something I was really good at. And then, like I said, that day I just wanted somebody to deliver for me, and
Mhm.
it just took off from there.
Super dope, man. Nah, man, yo, bro. I definitely appreciate you coming through, man. People are gonna learn like so much from listening to this, man. Anything else dope y'all got going on, man? Anything coming up soon you want to share or let people know about?
Yes, absolutely. So we have the RollUp Life presents the East Orange Cannabis and Community event coming up on October 28th at on Hamilton 79 Hamilton Street in East Orange, New Jersey. If you're in town, I'd definitely like to extend you an invite to that as well, where
I'll
we
definitely come through, man.
will just be kicking back, having a couple people from the industry come try to talk to some local people. There's some local dispensaries who are trying to get into the East Orange landscape, so trying to get them the opportunity to come and connect with the community as well. And it's just time for us to host our first event in person and live. So that's one of the things that we're doing. And then on December 4th, 2021, we'll be hosting the East Orange Community Expungement Clinic, and we'll be making sure that we can get in partnership with the apothecarium, that we can make sure we could get it as many people's record cleared off from cannabis as we could to try to get them back into work release programs. The apothecarium will be helping people with their resumes, setting up their LinkedIn profiles. We will be making sure there was professional headshots available there so you can clean up your profile a bit too. So just a couple community events coming up, and then we're also Precious is speaking in New York in November. So just making sure we stay in line with our goals and our mission here at RollUp Life. We'll be moving forward straight. But that's what's coming up for us.
Yeah, man. Yo, I can't wait to see all of that, man. Hey, and let everybody know where can they follow you, catch you on social media, follow Roll Up Life and all of that.
Oh, I share no doubt. So all of my social media handle is it's right here. It's right there. Just at Tiyahnn. Don't got to type in nothing else right there. Just at my first name on all of my social media handles. It's so cool about that. You can follow us on Instagram at rollup.life. You can follow us on Twitter at rolluplife_. And you can follow us on Facebook at facebook.com/rolluplife Inc. So just to keep updated with us, you can follow Precious personally at Precious the Producer on Instagram. And that's how you stay in touch with us. But, when you need us, we'll roll up.
Hey, roll up. Hey, man, speaking of, just because I did ask you about social, bro, something I think you should talk about, because your social, it got taken down on Instagram and y'all were able to get it back, right? And that's a huge problem in the cannabis industry, like the marketing, because there was a whole lot of socials coming down. How were y'all able to get that back? And what was the reason that they even told you they took you down? Because you don't advertise any sales on your site.
Right. They were attacking this cannabis industry company, so I can't really say what the specific reason it was, left or right, for why they took us down. But how we were able to get it back was a long-winded process. We had to submit our business corporation documents. We had to submit our faces, our personal Instagram accounts, which they limited for a while before they granted us back our full use of them. But it was just like a really up and down process. It took about a month and a half for us to get our things back up and going. But Instagram, it gave directions. And then we also launched a crazy media campaign where we had a bunch of people sharing, bring Roll Up Life back, bring Roll Up Life back. And I hope that did expedite the process. I can't tell you why Instagram gave us our account back. One day it was back.
Yeah. Hey man, well I'm happy to see it back. And for folks out there, if you're encountering that, just know that you know that you like there's a process and you can't get it back. So just wanted to share that for people in the industry, man. But yo, bro, it was definitely a pleasure having you come through, man. I definitely got to connect with you next time I'm back up at the crib, man. You already know.
Appreciate it, Tayo. Thank you for having me, man. I appreciate the show. I watch it all the time. I can't wait to actually sit down and watch this one and see what more I can learn about myself and how I could have probably better answer questions for you. I hope I did a great job.
Oh, nah, man, you killed it, man. You're nothing better, man. I'm looking at myself in the bed. My first time with the fresh cut, boy.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, sir. I'll holler at you, though, bro.
All right, appreciate you. Thank you for having me.
Yep.